My name is Boyd Lake. I am a senior character modeler. Basically what I do is I build any human characters that are used in the game, the rider gear, also work on the 30-second girls, crew chiefs, scenario characters that you see, and a lot of the crowd that you see close around the track. That's the stuff I work on. The rider gear is made up of several different pieces. We have custom gear that we swap on the rider: helmets, goggles, boots, jerseys and pants. It's all customizable, so we have to build all the assets that get swapped and put on the rider based on the achievements that the players made and what's been unlocked. There are a couple different processes involved with building that stuff, and the first process is basically gathering reference, gathering art source. Most of the manufacturers submit some kind of art source that's used in the production runs for their gear. So they'll send us those art files or photographs or both, and then we'll take that stuff and we'll start to analyze it, to look at it, and then we start processing it. Most of the art files we can actually just lift graphical information out of those files and actually use those directly in a lot of our textures. From there we start building the stuff. We build in a process called modeling. That's basically building the geometry that makes up the 3D objects, whether it's the rider's body, whether it's a piece of gear like a helmet or a pair of boots. For modeling, what we do is we build 3D geometry. It's just a virtual representation of the shape of the gear. For example, this Red Bull helmet, we build piece by piece with points, edges, and faces that basically build up the geometry and form of the object. Once we have that sculpted just right, we'll take that and then we'll flay it out, or we'll unwrap it, is what it's called. And that is to take a 3D object and take its surfaces and flatten those out so that we can project a 2D texture to it. Once we've done that, then we start to build the textures that are going to be projected onto that piece of gear. In this instance, we've got this set of blur goggles that we've unwrapped, and now we're building with that reference and with that graphical information. We're building a set of 2D images that will get projected onto that goggle and its strap, so that that piece of gear is represented correctly and like it should. And beyond that, we take those two assets and we implement those into our game engine by building shaders, putting together materials that tell our engine how to light and how to render each one of these surfaces and different materials on our rider. So we can take a look at some of the other objects. We've got the basic rider body with his hands and arms. That's what our base rider geometry looks like. You can see the sort of the lattice, the framework of the geometry. That's called a mesh, and it's just an arrangement of points, edges, and faces. Just very basic geometric features. Another thing we do is, because each one of these polygons takes time to render, we have to economize. We have to be careful how many polygons we render at any one time. So with every object that we build, we basically build for inside the game engine, we build 3 different versions of it. The higher resolution objects are what get rendered when the camera is close up to an object. As the camera gets further away, then we switch to lower levels of detail, and that's where these kinds of objects get their name. We call them LODs, level of detail. So as the camera gets very far away, say 100 feet or so, then this image will render, and And the number of polygons in that object is quite a bit fewer than this, and it just makes it so that we can render our objects in 30 frames a second at least, so that the engine doesn't bog down by having to render too many polygons. With these, of course, there's not any specific reference that we use. Currently we don't have specific personalities other than our pro riders in the game, so they're not intended to look like any specific person, and that's fine. But we build these models to fit an animation rig that's actually controlled by a process called motion capture. We mix all different disciplines of animation, but these particular characters, we have actors that have gone to a motion capture studio and suited up with a special suit that has markers on it that records motion and animation, actually from one of the 30-second girls that tours with Supercross. And so she suited up, did the different motion performances there. Our animators and technical designers took that information and then mapped it onto the character rig and drove the animation.